More relief bills need to be passed in Congress. Chuck Schumer has also confirmed that he's been having private conversations with two holdout Democratic senators on making big changes to the filibuster. Schumer even admitted that pushing through a rule change like this at least, would be an uphill climb, but a climb that needs to be made to help the American people. And changing the filibuster is actually an idea that is supported by several Senate Democrats that want to get President Biden's bill passed as quickly as possible. And there are Republicans and a few Democrats that are currently standing in the way of passing Biden's economic agenda. The Senate has a long-standing practice of allowing any one senator to object to proceedings, and what's generally referred to as a filibuster can pause action and even on votes. This is what is known as a filibuster, and as the country and Congress has grown more partisan, the filibuster has actually become a key practice used by both parties. Year by year, everybody, more and more senators threaten to wage filibusters to block legislation. Overcoming filibusters can take days, if not weeks. Even without a senator holding the floor, filibusters have forced senators into all-night and weekend votes to advance the bill. And that happened during the passage of the Affordable Care Act. So it would make a huge difference if the filibuster is actually removed from the Senate. But do you think it should be done? Tell me your thoughts on this, everybody. I want to see President Biden do a better job in helping out the American people with the fourth stimulus check. He definitely must do this. And if you guys agree with me, then comment down below. So I'm actually keeping an eye out on the House of Representatives and the Senate, and all members of Congress on what they say about the fourth stimulus bills. Thousands of small businesses have been hit hard by this crisis, and so Congress could definitely be looking into providing stimulus payments for small business owners. Lawmakers also need to send more financial aid to senior citizens and SSI, ssdi, and RRB beneficiaries. So there are many measures of the past day stimulus packages that are unfortunately not in effect right now. It is very possible that lawmakers will still reinstate these measures. And now this includes a monthly unemployment boost for Americans and also another round of stimulus payments. I definitely expect Congress to make at least a $1,400 stimulus check available to Americans in the country starting all this year. This is especially with unemployment claims rising very quickly over the past few weeks. Many people are blaming the surge of jobless claims on the ongoing crisis, and Congress will be forced to take action if claims continue to increase. CBS News has actually released a report that showed about 25% of Americans have actually struggled to pay their rent and their monthly expenses over the last couple of weeks. Now, many people are actually blaming the surge of jobless claims on the ongoing crisis, and Congress will actually be forced to take action if the claims continue to increase. So CBS News has released a report that showed about 25% of Americans have struggled to pay for their monthly expenses. Still, millions of Americans have been impacted by the pause in the expanded monthly child tax credit payments as well. It is really sad that Congress has not taken action for the American people yet, and they cannot leave us in the dust. A fourth check has to be sent out this year. But at least there are several lawmakers that are actually in favor of more relief in the form of new direct payments. There have been nearly 3 million people that have signed an official change.org petition, showing their support for further financial aid. The petition makes it clear that Congress needs to sign off on recurring $2,000 monthly payments, and I definitely agree. A $1,400 stimulus check would be great, but it's not enough. So I believe a payment of $2,000 should be sent out every month to all senior citizens and Social Security beneficiaries. It's actually reported that the third stimulus check of $1,400 did not last very long for many Americans. That's why it's important that the payments are made every month. A group of Democratic senators have publicly shown their support for recurring checks that will be tied to the current economic conditions of the United States. And I'm really glad that there are some lawmakers in Congress that do actually care for the American people. Americans have to be assured that they will be able to feed and house their loved ones, during these difficult times at least. With this ongoing crisis, families need to have a form of financial relief that they know they can rely on. But the big thing we should all be aware of is that lawmakers have not agreed yet on what the size of the next round of stimulus payments will be. The first stimulus check was worth around $1,200.
Hello, folks. Good morning. I'm going to be somewhat short today because shortly you're going to hear a helicopter landing outside the window here. I'm supposed to be in Colorado looking at the damage with the governor of that god-awful firestorm that rolled through, and then I'm heading off to do Harry Reid's funeral. So, but this morning I want to talk about, I think it's a historic day for our economic recovery. Today's national unemployment rate fell below 4% to 3.9%, the sharpest one-year drop in unemployment in United States history. The first time the unemployment rate has been under 4% in the first year of a presidential term in 50 years. 3.9% unemployment rate. Years faster than experts said we'd be able to do it. And we have added 6.4 million new jobs since January of last year, in 1 year. That's the most jobs in any calendar year by any president in history. How did that happen? Well, the American Rescue Plan got the economy off its back and moving again, back on its feet, getting over 200 million Americans fully vaccinated, got people out of their homes and back to work, even in the face of wave after wave of COVID. We got schools open. We got booster shots. We brought down the poverty rate. It went from 20 million people on unemployment rolls a year ago to under 2 million people on the unemployment rolls today. America's back to work, and there are more historical accomplishments. The increase in Americans joining the labor force was the fastest this year of any year since 1996. And among prime age workers, ages 25 to 54, their increase in labor force participation was the biggest in 43 years. Record job creation, record unemployment declines, record increases in the people in the labor force. I would argue the Biden economic plan is working and is getting America back to work, back on its feet. But the record doesn't stop there. Today's report also tells us that record wage gains, especially for workers in some of America's toughest jobs, women and men who work in the frontline jobs in restaurants, hotels, travel, tourism, desk clerks, line cooks, wait staff, bellmen, they all saw their wages at a historic high, the highest in history. Their pay went up almost 16% this year, far ahead of inflation, which is still a concern. Overall, wage gains for all workers who were not supervisors went up more in 2021 than any year in 4 decades. There's been a lot of press coverage about people quitting their jobs. Well, today's report tells you why. Americans are moving up to better jobs, with better pay, with better benefits. That's why they're quitting their jobs. This isn't about workers walking away and refusing to work. It's about workers able to take a step up